I got another interesting video I wanted to check out, which is called "What if Batman and Spider-Man swap cities for a week?" Now, I wouldn't consider myself a comic nerd, but I would definitely say that I grew up on comics and I enjoyed the shit, you know what I'm saying? And Batman's my favorite hero. I like Spider-Man. Spider-Man's not like my favorite, but he's cool. And what would it be like if Spider-Man and Batman swap cities for a week? I feel like Batman would have a field day. Like, I don't know if Spider-Man's villains could really handle Batman. I don't think they could go toe to toe, bro, you know what I'm saying? But Spider-Man in Gotham, I don't know, I feel like they both have a field day. Not to say that Spider-Man's weaker than Batman or anything like that, but you know, I just feel like, you know, interesting. Let's see what they say. Let's see what they say about this. Let's check it out.
Imagine New York's worst nightmare wasn't those really big chunky rats anymore, but the terror of bats lurking around in the city. That is one trade even New Yorkers wouldn't ever wish to experience. Now imagine what it would be like if Spider-Man had to patrol Gotham, or even better, Batman having to swing through the city of New York. At first it sounds fun, like a simple switch of capes and cities, but the more you think about it, the more you realize it wouldn't be easy, not even close. Every little detail of their lives, right from the people around them, the streets, even the air they breathe in, would all be very different, and that's before we even get to them dealing with the villains. Let's start with the obvious, the cities. Gotham is dark, it's rainy, it's cold, and it feels alive in its own twisted way. Every alley, every rooftop, every shadow could hide danger. Criminals don't just break the law here, they thrive on chaos, obsession, and fear. Batman knows this world. He knows the patterns, the neighborhoods, the families, even the names of the thugs he's put in Arkham. Gotham is more than just any city. It's a living nightmare, one that Batman can navigate because he's trained for it his whole life. New York is different. It's loud, it's crowded, and it's fast. It has its own kind of danger, sure, but it's a lot less about fear and more about chaos. Traffic, pedestrians, towering skyscrapers, it's pretty much real-life New York, actually. It's a city where mistakes are everywhere, and Spider-Man thrives here. He swings between buildings, threads through people and cars, and knows when to joke, when to dodge, and when to act. New Yorkers may groan about traffic, but they're not living in constant terror. Spider-Man knows them, their stories, and their routines. The city is his playground, but it's also a responsibility. Now imagine the swap. If Peter Parker was swinging into Gotham, the first thing he'd notice immediately is the air feeling heavier. The streets would feel a lot quieter than what he's used to, but there would be a weight in them, a sense that something bad is always about to happen. He can't just swing around cracking jokes. The citizens of Gotham are wary, sometimes even hostile, so his usual style, which is being playful, reactive, improvisational, would feel almost naive here. He's used to a city where criminals plan for years, not minutes. So every encounter could escalate quickly. Even helping someone across the street carries risk because Gotham doesn't reward small kindnesses. Meanwhile, Batman in New York is a fish out of water in another way. Gotham is predictable in its unpredictability. Batman knows the rules of the game. New York, though, it's messy. Criminals here are not obsessed with fear and terror. They're rather unpredictable in a whole different way. There's a mix of street-level crime, organized crime, and super-powered threats. And here's the kicker. The villains are fast, smart, and used to facing someone with powers. So Batman's reliance on stealth, fear, and reputation doesn't work as well when he's unknown and constantly outmaneuvered. Even the little things matter. Peter's life in New York is messy but human. He has Aunt May, Mary Jane, Harry.
That's actually facts. I never really thought about how much Batman's reputation plays a part in like what he does. And also environment, like I never really noticed how like Gotham's always dark and like I know that it's dark and shit like that, but like it's damn near always dark, you know what I'm saying? I didn't notice that. Number two is his reputation. Like a lot of people fear Batman to the point where like, you know, regular street thugs and shit like that, like they start pissing their pants and like they damn near can't fight back because of like the fear, you know. Spider-Man doesn't really carry that same aura where like, yeah, if he pulls up on a street thug, like they'll know who he is, but they don't like fear him, you know what I'm saying? So that's an interesting thought I never really thought about.
Friends at the Daily Bugle, there is Anchors. If he's in Gotham, suddenly those anchors disappear. Alfred can help, sure, but he isn't Peter's quirky, empathetic support system. And Batman, removed from the Bat family, loses his stabilizers. Alfred.
Imagine being able to build an app with your name on it, just by thinking about it. Meet Base 44.
Robin, Red Hood, Nightwing, they're what keep him grounded. Without them, even a small mistake could escalate into a disaster. And then there's the villains. Spider-Man in Gotham faces the likes of the Penguin, Riddler, Two-Face, and yes, the Joker. On paper, these are terrifying names, but for Spider-Man, they're doable. These villains rely on fear, planning, and manipulation. They don't have super strength or alien tech. Spider-Man's agility, reflexes, and spider sense give him a huge edge. Thinking about Scarecrow's fear toxin, spider sense helps him dodge the worst. How about Two-Face's traps? Well, he can just simply swing around them. Joker's chaos? Peter's tricks might actually frustrate him more than he expects. Spider-Man in Gotham would struggle morally, yes, but physically, he'd survive. Batman in New York has a much rougher week. Green Goblin, Doc Ock, Venom, Carnage. These guys are on an entirely another level. They have super strength, alien-like resilience, and intelligence that rivals Bruce's own. Preparation helps, sure, but not the way it does in Gotham. Batman can't rely on fear and shadows when facing someone who's stronger, faster, and more willing to break him physically. Venom and Carnage, especially, are terrifying. They can just shrug off his sonic attacks, flames, and conventional weapons. Batman might outthink them temporarily, but one slip, one miscalculation, and it's over. Even Green Goblin's insane intellect and gadgets would make Batman's prep-intensive style seem slow. The psychological contrast is fascinating. Spider-Man thrives under pressure. He's used to losing, to making mistakes, and facing consequences. But Gotham's moral grayness tests him in ways New York never could. Every decision has a ripple effect. Saving one person might doom another. He's constantly weighing ethics against practicality, and sometimes no choice feels right. For someone used to helping, being limited by circumstances would be very frustrating. Batman, by contrast, is all about control and planning. New York strips that away. Threats are chaotic and superhuman. He can't always prepare for every eventuality. He's used to a city where fear and reputation work as tools. In New York, however, those tools are meaninless against...
I ain't gonna lie, I'm starting to realize how much of a tough time Batman would have in New York. I was kind of glazing at this there, and I ain't gonna lie. He is my favorite hero, so I had to say what I had to say, but realistically, I do think Spider-Man would have an easier time.
Enemies who can tear through steel, manipulate machines, or fly.
Shit.
Batman...
Welcome, Stinkerycould.
What's good? What's good? Welcome to the chat, man. Welcome to the chat, big dog. What's poppin'?
Its mental strength is tested in a different way. It isn't through moral dilemmas, but through sheer unpredictability and physical danger. Even lifestyle adjustments become nightmarish. Peter would need to navigate Gotham's bureaucracy, its corrupt cops, and its oppressive social structure. Every rooftop patrol would become a calculated risk. Every encounter did be potentially life-threatening. Meanwhile, Batman would have to dodge cars, avoid panic crowds, and keep his presence a secret in a city where everyone is watching. Gotham teaches patience, New York demands improvisation. Spider-Man would feel constrained, Batman would feel overstretched, and the human side of it, Peter's humor, empathy, and kindness clash with Gotham's grim outlook. Even helping someone is emotionally taxing because gratitude is rare and the danger is constant. Batman's stoicism, on the other hand, could seem overbearing for the citizens of New York. Civilians might not understand his methods. Mistakes that are minor in the city of Gotham, or a failed intimidation or misread criminal, could be catastrophic in New York. Now let's imagine a week of encounters. Peter chases the Penguin through the sewers, swinging between pipes slick with rain. He also hears the Riddler's riddles echoing down the tunnels. Traps are rigged everywhere. For Spider-Man, every web shot, every landing has to be perfect. One misstep could snap a web line or send him down into the pits. In the end, his reflexes would save him, but he did be left exhausted, wet, and cold. It did be emotional exhaustion that would creep in slowly onto him, as he realizes that no amount of humor or goodwill will make Gotham appreciate him. For Batman, though, it would be very different. Unlike Spider-Man in New York, if Batman was facing Doc Ock's tentacles that were smashing through Midtown, he would have to deal with cars flipping, civilians screaming, while also having to calculate multiple threats simultaneously: the tentacles, Ock himself, and also the collateral damage. He can plan, but he cannot intimidate. If he was facing Venom then, he might just shrug off his best gadgets. Carnage might break through every trap he sets. Every fight for him would be a test of improvisation, stamina, and facing intellects under pressure. Batman can't just rely on prep time. He would need to adapt in real time, often reacting instead of anticipating. Bruce would very often feel the pressure of unpredictability, not from fear itself, but from pure, raw chaos. And by the end of the week, both both heroes would learn something vital. Spider-Man would understand the relentless obsession and psychological burden that Batman carries daily. Living in Gotham, he would experience firsthand the moral compromises, the constant threat of failure, and the weight of fear that defines Batman's very existence. Batman, meanwhile, would feel what Peter deals with every day: a city that never sleeps, enemies that would defy expectations, and civilians who can be both help and hindrance. Each of them would grow, learn, and be humbled at the same time. The experiences would highlight what makes each of them remarkable. It isn't just their powers, but their ability to adapt, empathize, and survive in environments completely hostile to their usual methods. And here's the kicker: neither hero would come out unscathed. Spider-Man would be emotionally drained. He did become a lot more aware of the fragility of human life under extreme circumstances. Batman, on the other hand, would be physically challenged, where he would be forced to think on his feet against threats which he cannot intimidate or predict. This is the thing about superheroes. Their worlds shape them. Gotham makes Batman a strategist, a detective, and a moral anchor. New York makes Spider-Man resilient, improvisational, and empathetic. Swap the cities for just 1 week and you strip them from their comfort zones, forcing them to confront their weaknesses, strengths, and humanity in ways they never imagined. In the end, it's not about who would win in a fight, it's about who would survive mentally, emotionally, and physically in an environment completely alien to them. Spider-Man would learn patience, psychological resilience, and the hard edge of moral compromise. Batman would learn improvisation, emotional adaptability, and the danger of over-reliance on prep and technology. If an actual swap was to happen by any chance, then both of them would return to their own cities with a deeper understanding of themselves, their enemies, and the worlds they protect. So the next time you imagine a simple superhero swap, remember, it's not just a switch of buildings, gadgets, or suits. It's a switch of responsibility, danger, and emotional weight. Gotham would break Spider-Man in ways New York never could, while New York would challenge Batman in ways Gotham never does. And after 1 week of living each other's lives, both heroes would respect the other, not just for their abilities, but for the resilience it takes to survive a city that refuses to bend for anyone.
That was actually a pretty dope video. Funny enough, the video that was suggested after seemed pretty interesting as well. What if Mr. Beast was the president? That seemed kind of interesting.
Alright, yeah. I'm getting gritty on these niggas. I'm getting gritty on these bitches. Here we go, now they talking again. Yeah. I'm getting gritty on these niggas. I'm getting gritty on these bitches. Here we go, now they talking again. I'm getting gritty on these niggas. I'm getting gritty on these bitches.